me in the kitchen right now to show us how to take a regular old apple pie and turn it into a spectacular apple bundt cake that will be the star of your next dessert table. From America's Test Kitchen, our good friend, welcome back, Bridget Lancaster.
Hey, how are
welcome
you?
back, Bridge.
I've got some Bridget competition, it sounds like.
But I don't think she can bake as well as you can.
Okay, that's what I'm banking on.
If you're in the market for a doggy, she's a good one.
There you go. But let's talk about apple pie. We're not making that.
Well, we can talk about it, but look at them. They're already eating it. So you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
dig in,
yeah, dig
Maria,
in.
Orly, Cam, you guys get in there.
Why should pies have all the fun? We're going to make an apple cake.
Pies have all the fun.
Right?
And I'd like to congratulate you, though, before we even get into this, on 20 years of America's Test
Thank
Kitchen.
you.
I mean, my goodness. And, of course, this recipe is in your anniversary cookbook. But I'd like to know from you what it's like to be part of such an iconic brand. It's really something else. It's like the fabric of America.
Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that, but I mean, think about it. We've been teaching people for 20 years, and that's what it's really about. If you can teach people how to cook, then they can continue to cook and feed their family and just make more memories.
It's true, and you take all the guesswork out of it for us.
We try.
And, well, you test everything, so it makes it very easy. All right, now back to this fabulous
All
recipe.
right, easy to put together. We've got our dry ingredients, just flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt.
Okay, basic.
A little bit of spice here, just a little bit. We want a lot of apple flavor. There's the equivalent of 4.5 pounds of flavor from apples in this cake. 4.5 pounds.
Pounds of
Yes.
apples.
Most apple cakes do not taste like apple.
So that's all your fruit servings and then some for the week, I think.
It's good for you.
That's right.
Exactly.
It's healthy,
Exactly
Cameron.
right.
So I'm just mixing in a little cinnamon, a little bit of allspice.
How many times did you test this one?
Oh, too many. Maybe 40. Probably
Really?
the average test is about 30 tests, so that's a lot of cake to bring home.
Okay, which means it's great. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly.
All right, so our dry ingredients are done.
All right, now this is reduced apple cider. We took 4 cups of apple cider. We reduced it to 1 cup. This is the flavor pack.
Do you reduce it
all
on the
packed in.
stove?
On the stove top in a skillet. Takes about 20 minutes.
Debbie's gonna get basically.
Wow.
Basically, that was a whole bottle of apple cider.
That's phenomenal. Oh my goodness, the flavor profile in there is beautiful.
Oh, it's so good. Now this is a 1/2 cup of that cider along with a couple of sticks, 2 sticks of butter.
Okay.
Some brown sugar here, 1.5 cups.
And brown sugar is important?
Brown sugar is important. It's that molasses and apple flavor. It just tastes autumnal.
Are there a lot of different types of apple cider? Or is it just kind of like whatever you get, you're going to be good?
That's a really good question. There's refined apple cider and then unrefined. You know it because it's a little bit cloudy, a little bit murky. You can use either. I wouldn't use apple juice though, because it might be too sweet.
Got it.
A little bit of vanilla in here.
Nice.
A few eggs, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so now we're gonna mix this, put this right into our dry ingredients. I told you it goes together quick.
Oh, look at that, it's beautiful.
As you're doing that,
Eat it
how
like that.
different do the test cakes taste? Like in other words, like when you're making differences, you must get a little numb to it. You're trying one and then the other and the other. Like
Right, you
how
have to
can you
clean your palate.
Are they really
Right.
different?
Yeah, no, they can
40
really
cakes
be,
later? Yeah.
Yes, and it's not just a couple people testing, it's at least 10 people
Okay,
at
there
every
you go.
test.
And how does that work? Do you guys all bake it at home and then bring it in and say, okay, taste mine, taste this one?
No, we have a huge test kitchen, 40,000 square feet of kitchen. So
Yeah,
that's
but
a lot of people.
The only reason I say that is because when you're sitting there and you're saying, and you're eating, and
All right.
eventually your mouth, like Cameron said, just can't taste anything
Right.
anymore. It's
I
like
would
smelling
imagine.
the same, you're smelling perfumes and you can't tell.
Well, don't forget, we're not just tasting apple cake. We might be working on turkey, we might be working on some other things as well. So you're going to break up your palate that way too. And plus, we kind of, we trade. So if you didn't taste apple cake today, you know you're going to be tasting it tomorrow.
So nobody can be on a diet, is what you're telling me.
What's that?
Right.
This is a body by America's Test Kitchen. So,
So there's our apples, all Granny Smith,
yeah,
right?
all Granny
Yeah.
Smith. That was 1.5 pounds.
And they're grated?
They're grated.
Did you
just-
try any other apple or in the 40
Yeah.
times, or did you guys always do Granny Smith?
Well, Granny Smith's perfect because it's a good baker. It's nice and tart. It doesn't fall apart. It's going to counter all that sweetness.
Okay.
And then it goes into our bundt pan. Now you want to use a 12-cup bundt pan. You want to grease it and flour it.
You've got a fancy one though. I mean, it's fancy to me.
It is
Isn't
fancy.
it?
Doesn't that look like a little stylish
Look at
bundt
it.
pan?
You
What
guys,
that looks like on the
you guys went all out. Isn't that beautiful?
like a nice swirl.
Little rosette.
Now, why a bundt pan?
So bundt pan is perfect. Look how thick this batter is. I'm going to do my best to get it in there neatly.
And it's supposed to be that thick, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be that thick. Again, there's tons of apple and apple flavor in here. So we want to use a bundt pan. You see, it creates a little hole in the middle, so it's going to bake from the outside in, but that little hole is going to allow heat through the center, and it's also going to bake from the inside out. You get an apple cake that's really gummy and doughy.
Yes.
It's not good.
I see. So when the batter's that thick, that's where the bundt cake comes in. is what
That's
you're saying.
exactly
So
right.
this is Do bundt pans always bake better than regular pans?
You know,
because
just-
I've been underutilizing my bundt pans, if that's the case.
You need to
Look
use
at
your
that.
bundt pans, yeah.
I only use them for the holidays.
I use them
Yeah.
for almost everything. Anytime that you have a cake that's really rich and thick or has a lot of liquid in it, a bundt pan is perfect.
That is a great tip.
So let me just try to get this neat.
You're doing well, man.
Thank you.
It's like a whole.
I
When
know.
you guys decide which one wins, like which is the best in the test kitchen, is
Right.
it by? Does it have to be a unanimous vote, or is it like a majority of all those people that are tasting it?
Well, we have to sign off on it. So by the time you see a recipe, it's not only gone through all that testing, but then we send it out to what's called Friends of America's Test Kitchen.
How do
And
I
people-
become a
Right.
friend?
You can
of
sign up to
America's
be a
Test
friend of
Kitchen?
America's. I'm going to give you all the information. It's on our website. It's at the bottom.
amazing.
You can sign up to be
amazing.
a recipe tester, right?
What?
And
Why are we just hearing this? You've come to our show for 8 years.
Exactly right.
I can't believe you've hidden
Exactly
this
right.
information.
Well, the people have to, we ask them what they think, and they have, the one question that's really important is, would you make this again? It has to get an 80% response rate. I'm going to pop this in the oven.
For how long?
350, and it goes in for about 55 minutes, and it looks like this.
Oh my goodness. Now, the person who wins, do they get an award?
Yeah. No, you have to understand, Bridget. We're fascinated by this whole process.
You get a
so-
ribbon? Do people
Yeah.
say, oh, well, 60 of my recipes have won? Do people have that sort of...
You get to say that you made some of the best recipes on earth, and you helped us out. You're part of the family at that point. You guys know all about family here.
Yes, we sure do.
So what is that you just put on there?
So that's more of that cider glaze. So you put a little on the bottom, you let it cool 10 minutes. We're going to take it out right now.
Okay, now this is the fun part.
Yes.
Make sure it doesn't break.
That's right.
Oh!
Beautiful.
I love it.
And then you brush it with more of this.
Our rim.
And then this is more of that reduced cider mixed with confectioner sugar. So just do these little ribbons back and forth. You can, what I love about this, I used to be a pastry chef, and people would say, oh, look how like amazing and avant-garde. No, you're just making a mess.
Do you know what this shape reminds me of? Is it the Opera House in Australia?
Oh, yeah, the Sydney Opera
the Sydney
House.
Opera
It
House.
I said
does.
like a fancy car rim. I mean, is that wrong?
It just shows where male and female brain go.
I love it.
We went
That's
Opera
what
House,
I
he
was
went
doing.
car rim.
But Bridget, I got to tell you, apple pie
do you
used to
think?
be my favorite. Now it's all about apple cake.
It's all about apple cake.
Yep.
So good.
Oh, thank you.
Dig in.
All right.
Have a
Don't
bite.
mind if I do.
Right?
Wow. The
Tons of
best
flavor.
bundt cake I've ever eaten in my life.
By the way, everybody, this recipe is part of our Countdown to Christmas digital cookbook, which you can download, of course, at hallmarkchannel.com.
Wow.
Thank you again, Bridget.